The Port of Oakland recognizes the need for improved marine facilities and transportation facilitation, and an increased focus on import cargoes from Asia. The reasons for this emphasis are as many and as varied as are the nature of the port's improvements. Oakland should now be considered as significant for import trade as it has traditionally been for export trade. The port's unique combination of local market strengths and intermodal assets make Oakland a logical choice as the West Coast's first inbound port of call from Asia. As background, in 1980, for the first time, the total value of U.S. trade with Pacific Rim markets exceeded trade with Western Europe. In terms of U.S. international waterborne trade, this shift had taken place prior to 1980, and the importance of Asia as a major market has continued to grow, while the relative importance of Europe has declined. These factors have particular significance for ports on the American West Coast due to their geographic proximity to Asian markets. As an example, in 1986, the total value of West Coast liner trade demonstrated the importance of the Far East market for West Coast ports. This is particularly true in our import trade, where Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, and Taiwan accounted for some 90% of the liner cargo flowing through West Coast ports. A severe imbalance exists in Far East trade, where U.S. exports equal 1/4 the value of imports, and this imbalance is also reflected in container cargo movements. Despite recent currency adjustments, imports remained strong through 1986. A number of factors can have a positive impact on the future growth of West Coast ports. We have become a nation of consumers of products made by others, primarily products made in Asia. The result? Continued growth in eastbound trade. Additionally, Bureau of Census projections indicate that 60% of the American population will be living in the Southeast and in the West by the year 2000. Further, some 80% of those living within the western section will have migrated to the warmer Southwest. A growing domestic population is significant not only for import products, but also facilitates the repositioning of shipping line containers back to port cities with domestic cargoes. Another significant development is the ability to move cargoes through West Coast ports and across the country in order to penetrate the markets of the Eastern Seaboard and the Gulf of Mexico coast cities. This truck and rail penetration, or mini-bridge, had by 1986 reached over 30% of the total all-water market. With 1986 as the base year and a projected 11% growth rate through the year 2000, the West Coast ports could be handling over 280 million tons of containerized cargo annually. An 11% growth projection is not considered unreasonable, given the 13% average growth over the past few years through West Coast ports. However, should the growth rate fall short due to such factors as protectionist trade legislation and an extremely conservative growth rate be achieved of only half that being experienced currently, West Coast ports would still be handling 2.5 times their 1986 volumes by the year 2000. The Port of Oakland is positioning itself to participate fully in this forecasted growth. The port is actively pursuing a strategy designed to bring to the Northern California market the expanded number of first port of call inbound service calls that the region deserves. Oakland is the gateway to a strong local market, Northern California, and hub of a superior inland transportation system to serve the 280 million population of the continental United States. Oakland deserves to be targeted as a major market for first port of call service. Sometimes overshadowed by the size of the Southern California market, it is overlooked by many that the San Francisco Bay Area is the 5th largest metropolitan area in population in the United States, approaching 6 million. Oakland's immediate hinterland population of 10 million in surrounding Northern California is projected to reach 12 million by the year 2000. Of particular importance to high-value Asian imports is the Bay Area's ranking in terms of purchasing power, fourth in the nation, and 20% above the U.S. family median, a market clearly deserving of more first port of call inbound service. An excellent network of railroads and highways ensures that incoming cargo can be quickly distributed, thus avoiding the urban congestion traditionally encountered at other major California ports. Today, the Interstate 80 and 880 corridors are home to extensive modern warehousing and distribution space within short motor carrier distance of the Port of Oakland, and are attracting significant development by importers from Asia. 34 million square feet of modern warehouse space now exists in the Reno-Sparks area of Nevada, where area developers and warehouse operators have recently conducted promotional programs in Japan and are considering the opening of an overseas office, demonstrating the area's growing interest in serving import customers. In addition to a strong local market, Oakland's intermodal capabilities are unmatched because the Great Circle route from Japan tracks very close to Northern California. A call at Oakland first, en route to Southern California, results in a savings of more than 300 nautical miles. This savings in sailing time, combined with Oakland's faster cargo transfer time, significantly reduces total elapsed transit time to inland destinations. A vessel leaving Tokyo, Yokohama, and calling at Oakland first, benefits from both the shorter sea distance and quicker transfer of cargo between the marine terminals and railheads. The savings could ultimately be 17 hours on a delivery to Chicago over that same vessel had it first gone to the ports of Southern California. The same can be said of other representative inland destinations, such as Atlanta, New Orleans, and Houston. The Port of Oakland is well served by several competing railroads, including the Southern Pacific, the Santa Fe, the Union Pacific, and the Denver Rio Grande Western, in conjunction with the Southern Pacific through the Central Gateway. Few ports can offer their users 3 competing railroad services, as